Morning. Well, here I am on my way to Rearsby. It's the 23rd of March. It's been a while since my last video. Been a bit busy. Anyway, here we are. Going to go to Rearsby and then over towards Gadsby, over the fields, and then check out Queniborough, another one of those Anglo-Saxon settlements. But the thing about Queniborough is that it hasn't changed that much. So, let's go. So just walking up the former Gadsby Lane, which used to be the way that you got to Gadsby, but not anymore, because they built a great big bypass across the top of it. Still a very nice road, like the houses along here. And here we have the Rearsby Business Park, just outside Rearsby on Gadsby Lane. What's famous about this place is it's where Taylorcraft Aircraft used to manufacture the Oster, famous civilian and military training aircraft. I believe they fixed Hurricanes in the Second World War here, and then subsequently they diversified into Rearsby Automotive, which serviced the now defunct British car industry for many years. So here's one of the old hangars, repurposed for ECF. I think they make kitchens. I'm told this is the oldest of the hangars. And here's another obvious hangar, again repurposed for the kitchen and bathroom company. I thought that this would be the airfield, but apparently the airfield's over that fence, so let's go and see if we can see anything over that fence. Well, to be honest, there's not an awful lot to suggest that there is an airfield there once, is there? All returned to farmland now. Half close your eyes, and that's an airfield, isn't it? Hangars, grass, perimeter road. And this is another point of interest because it is one of those spots where the trickling tributary of the city finally disappears into the countryside. From this point, I can walk all the way into the middle of Leicester on pavement. Down there is where the pavement ends, and we're into the country. And at last, after a bit of a trudge down that road, which is a bit busy, we find the footpath we're looking for, which is going to curl round to Queniborough. And there's a fine view across the valley to Rearsby and the old Rearsby airfield. Just climbing over the ridge now. Soon we'll see Queniborough Church. come over this field here, you can see the magnificent spire of Queniborough Church sticking up. It's a landmark for miles around, that church, and it's absolutely beautiful. So here we are coming into Queniborough. So Queniborough is another one of those Anglo-Saxon settlements, Queniborough in the Domesday Book. But as is common round here, people have been living here since Neolithic times. Bronze Age remains, Roman remains have all been found round here. The thing about Queniborough is the railway never came, the canal never came, and so it pretty much stayed the same until the beginning of this century. You see the 1903 map, hardly anything, and then a large amount of housing and development has occurred outside of the medieval core of the village. And the first thing you come to is this Dovecote, moved here in 1988 by Leicester County Council, Leicestershire County Council I should say, 1705 it says. Because it was moved, it's not a listed building, but it is a registered building, so hopefully no one's going to come along and knock it down. It'd be a pity after, what, 300, 400 years nearly. This is going into what's called Queniborough New Hall, which I guess is the newer of the two halls, which has now been extensively developed into a gated estate. Let's see if I get shouted at. And that must be the new hall with the church behind it. Everything else here looks like modern house building. I guess that's flats and apartments now. Lovely old building there. And down there is another one of those magical points where the tarmac from Leicester runs out. I think I might join them all together and develop the Leicester Outer Orbital Path, or the LEOOP. Something for a future video. Coming into Queniborough's medieval original street. This is the bit that's been here since, well, at least the 13th century, when the church was built and the town or village arranged in the way that we see it today. And here is that magnificent 13th century church. That spire can be seen for miles around. Looks like it was added onto the top of a classical Anglo-Saxon church, but I can't find any evidence that that was the case. At the time this church was built, the village was rearranged into plots of 1 rod, which is 5.5 feet wide, and you can still see evidence of that when you walk through the village. The houses have narrow fronts and go back quite a long way. And here's an example of one of those houses still standing. Rupert's cottage. Apparently that is 1 rod, the width of that cottage there, number 79. Just a little footnote, but that's where I used to live for a few months, down Mere Lane in Queniborough, just down from the pub. Don't see a blue plaque up there yet, but there's still time. And here is the Britannia, still our favourite pub. Hang on in there, Phil and Kate, we'll be there as soon as we can, or as soon as we're allowed. If you fancy a takeaway and you live in the local area, I can thoroughly recommend their takeaway menu. Give them a ring. And here, just behind the Britannia, is Queniborough's original school, 1846, left in trust for the education of the children of the village. There's a new school now just down the road. This lives on as a swimming pool. Opened in 1970 and refurbished recently, still in use by the children of the school. And who's this? It's Paul, manager of the butchers here, Clark's, famous for its quality meats all round the world. Well, round Leicestershire anyway. How you doing, Paul?
Alright?
Yeah, alright. Fantastic place, Queniborough, isn't it?
Yeah, I've lived there all my life, so since 1966, so I've seen a few changes.
And how long you been in
working,
Clark's?
I started off as a cleaning lad when I was 14.
What, at Clark's?
Yeah, at Clark's, and then progressed from there to working full time. So I've been here 38 years now.
That's brilliant.
Man and boy, and became like the shop manager like 10 years ago. So yeah, it's all good.
I mean, Clark's is the best meat around here. Had a couple of steaks on Friday. They were like butter. Absolutely fantastic. So anyone want to get some real quality meat, come to Clark's.
Well, trying best, keeping like tradition but with a modern twist on things.
Yeah.
Keep up to date with stuff, so all good.
So Queniborough's, quite a few famous people live in Queniborough, I understand.
Over the years I've seen a few famous people, yeah. I mean...
Come in the shop?
Yes, yeah. Probably one of the most famous if you're into the boxing, just across the road here. Tony Simpson used to live for many years.
Yeah, right.
Used to watch him train every day, used to run by the shop every morning.
Did he?
Yeah. So
yeah.
That was in his heyday. Mark Wallington, he used to live further down there on this many years ago.
Yeah.
Back a while now.
He was the manager of Leicester?
No, he was the goalkeeper.
Goalkeeper for Leicester City,
and also
yeah.
Rob Kelly, further down the village, when he was the manager of Leicester.
Right.
He was there as well. So,
right.
And over this way behind where you're standing now,
yeah,
the central news presenter that was Barrett Patel still lives in the village. He's been here for about 25 years. He just wrote a book a year ago, so that's about all his ventures and everything he'd done, so that's quite good.
Well, I've been looking into, you know, this village goes back for 1,000 years. It's been here since the Anglo-Saxons came in 900 and something.
Yeah, supposedly, so I'm told, along with great history, that it was built mainly on it because it's built on wells.
Right.
Lots of wells in people's gardens have been discovered just by digging up, and suddenly they've discovered wells.
I mean, we used to live in Mere Lane and the basement flooded every winter.
Yeah.
You know, you'd have at least a foot of water in the basement every winter, so the water table's pretty high here, I think.
My boss, when he, in about the mid-80s, was digging in the back, and suddenly this massive hole appeared and he found a 20-foot well in his back garden, which he made a feature of, which is brilliant.
Yeah. So I hear, you know, as a retired medic, a bit of a surgeon, show me your surgical skills.
I can give you a quick demonstration.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
Out of 10.
That'd be amazing. Thanks, Paul. Let's go in.
Brilliant.
See, they got the Manor Farm yogurts here from Yogurt Run. If you've seen that one. If you haven't, go back and have a look at it.
Right, I've got a bit of sirloin here. So basically, the chain off already. I'm just going to take the what we call the back strap off. Put a few strings around, and then cut your joints off.
How come you've got all your fingers?
Now, well, just practice. Always respect your knife. Right, so that's that off. And then we're going to just put the strings around. We've got a strip loin, so we can either stake this or roll it as a joint.
So you can make sirloin steak out of that?
Yes, basically sirloin steak, which you can just cook straight down, or what I'm doing now is just, somebody wants a sirloin joint, so I'm just going to tie it up. The butcher's not, everyone tries to copy but gets wrong. Normally would tie the the whole thing, but we'll just one half of it for steaks and half the joints. I'm just going to take the joints off and then I can steak the rest. So, that's on. Through.
That is a sharp knife.
Fantastic steaks there, and then basically with that you can just take steaks off.
And you know exactly what 1/8 ounce looks like, don't you?
Roughly.
Yes.
There'll be about 8 ounces off of the modern 225 grams.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't do grams. I was just looking at a house that's 1 rod long.
Yes, well, 250 grams, so about 9 ounces. But yeah.
That's pretty good.
Okay.
Well, fantastic. Thanks, Paul.
No problem.
I think you could probably do my job. So now I'm going to walk down Peg's Lane, because according to the map, this is where you find Queniborough Old Hall. Well, it's a lovely old lane, but can't seem to get round to the hall through here, so let's try the alternative down Coppice Lane. Down Coppice Lane, past the current site of Queniborough Village School. Let's see if we can find the drive to the old hall. And here's the old hall. 1672, was rebuilt by the Bennett family, but clearly dates from medieval times. I've never seen it before. And in a minute I'm probably going to get told off for being here, so let's scarper. So, at the beginning of the 20th century, this is the edge of Queniborough. Since then, much more has been built. So Queniborough now stretches on, with houses built in the 30s, 50s, 60s, and they're still building them. But it's nice to see that the vestiges of the original medieval village remain. What a lovely village. So, that's it for this one. Just walking out of Queniborough, back to East Goscote. Look forward to seeing you on the next one. Might start going around Leicestershire on the Leicester Outer Orbital Path. Not that that exists yet, but it will. See you next time. Bye.